Hello and welcome to DDOCast episode 536. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week, we have our guest, Strimtom. Welcome back, sir.
Hey, what's happening?
Yeah, it's
I
been a
guess
while.
Patrick. How are you doing?
Good. Mostly. Yeah, so we're recording live on Friday, October 19th. A little earlier than usual, but that's okay. It's kind of what worked this week for both of us. This week's screenshot. Hey, look, another Night Revels screenshot. Shock, gasp. Gelmer addresses for the return of the Night Revels in the 387th screenshot of the week. Very nice thematic screenshot, though.
Yeah, I kind of like the event-based screenshots because it makes it a very clear competition of who's going to take the best Halloween picture. Like, it's not like, oh, people have all these different merits. No, clearly these are all Halloween pictures. You get the best one. Which one's going on?
Yeah. We like to talk about Dungeons & Dragons online nearly every weekend. You can catch us through Twitch, YouTube, DDO forums, iTunes, or from our website, DDOCast.com. DDOCast is hosted by Cyber the awesome podcast hosting network, and shows are usually available within a few days of recording. Next week's show will probably be Saturday. You can stay up to it by following us on social media pages or our website, DDOCast.com. We have a calendar there. It makes it a little easier. On the podcast this week, so we will have after the news, we'll have part 2 of our Update 40 review with Arkat and Voodu. But right now, we're going to talk about game news. And, well, hey, this is kind of going to be exciting, right?
Yeah.
Game news, there's not a lot of game news, but what we got was kind of fun. So, Bard changes. This was a surprise. This was not really expected. We should preface this by saying this is not going to be. Some people are asking, "Wow, but Bard change, that wasn't what was next on the class pass." Well, this isn't really a class pass. It's actually a fairly narrow scope. But let's get into it. So Steeltar wrote that giving a first look at plans for significant changes to Bard coming up soon. It's pretty early in the process, so things are still subject to change, but they'd like to know what we think. So this is kind of to preface where they're coming from. Bard songs of the modern era have been eroded in their usefulness as other buff and item effects have infringed upon their channels. They're meant to be small, ever-present bonus, and to instill the feeling that no matter what character you're playing, a Bard will help them excel at what they do best. In practice, however, they fall short, both on their effects and how they actually feel to the player. It also takes a long time for Bard to sing all of their songs, and most of them provide minimal, if any, bonuses for a very short period of time. Bards right now need a drastic change to bring them closer to pen and paper and to appropriate power levels, and we hope this accomplishes that goal in the most elegant way possible. So, hey, let's just start right there. What do you think about that, where we're starting from? Do you agree, disagree?
Well, think about it like this. If you get the opportunity to play a Bard, if you play with your friends, you say, hey guys, hold on, throw on the songs. You sit there and you do your doodly-doodly-doo. People get the buffs. And if you don't have all the duration buffs, you got like maybe 4 minutes before you got to do them again, chasing people down. People like to split up and go different ways, even if you know them. And if you don't have all the investment in them, sometimes people feel like they're not that valuable. This is when you're with your friends. When you're not with your friends, if you're with a pug, people just go. They just run. Everyone's going in a different direction. So you're buffing yourself, but being able to consolidate all these bonuses and also make it so that making the downtime is very minimal, so there's more uptime, there's more fun time. I think that's a very noble goal. I don't know how it's going to bring them closer to pen and paper.
Yeah, that was a weird comment, isn't it?
That was a weird comment. Yeah, because I'm like, pen and paper bards suck. They suck in DDO. It seems like it's perfectly
suck,
point.
But the singing part is not. The singing part is not a fire and forget, right? It's you keep singing, and that's like,
yeah, exactly.
What are you gonna do in your turn? I sing and buff the party. Next. So I like that we don't want to get there, and I don't feel like that's going to happen, but it was kind of an interesting comment, right? Okay, so the goals. Recapture the feeling of a classical pen and paper Bard. Reduce the time it takes for a Bard to buff the party. Provide a meaningful reason as to why a party would want a Bard with them. I mean, don't we kind of have the Bard sacrifice? Is that not a meaningful enough reason?
Yeah, you got to have a chessboard.
Remove some of the not quite so fun mechanics from the buff playstyle as a Bard and help reduce strain on game performance by cleaning up the R's to play a lot nicer in a group. Clean up text inconsistencies and clear out bugs behind the scenes to make it easier to have future items and abilities affect Bard songs. More on that later. The plan. So, bards will no longer sing their songs individually one at a time. Instead, their single target bard songs will be collapsed into one, quote, song, known as their bardic inspiration. And their area of effect bard songs will simply be constantly pulsing from their location to all players. For example, the single target bard song Inspire Heroics is now automatically played, meaning its effects are added when the bard plays their inspiration for the target, as long as the bard meets the song's perform and level requirements. So, for reference, the aria, these are the passive chants in Inspire, Courage, Greatness, and Bardic Inspiration, these are the single target bard songs. Bardic aria will become active at bard level 1 and contain Inspire Courage at first. Bards will gain access to a Bardic Inspiration at bard level 3, which will initially contain Inspire Competence. The active bard songs that would be granted are instead changed to passive feats that display their effects are and how they are applied. So, basically, you'll have two ways to give songs. Either it's the aria, which is just... it seemed to me kind of like similar to how the Paladin aura works, right? Like, it's just that you're just always pulsing it out. I think there may be some information I grabbed. I may not. I think they said it was like every 10 seconds it refreshes.
Yeah, second. It matches the Paladin, and it matches the Warlock aura pulsing. Both the
okay.
For all the...
It's interesting that it doesn't include Inspire Courage, which is the damage one. So that's not
the aura
anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, aria and Inspire Courage.
Yeah, but Inspire Courage used to be. I guess it was a Sing for Everybody song. But,
yeah.
Let's see. Go ahead.
The best way I think I can describe it is that of the base bard songs, if when you press it, it affected everybody, so Inspire Courage and Greatness, still it's going to be part of the aura that affects everybody. And then if it's out of the enhancement trees, the song, if it was out of War Chanter, it's going to affect everybody and be part of your aria. If it's out of Spellsinger, it's going to be part of your inspiration, so that it keeps it on. Right. That way it makes it...
Inspire Courage will now grant a music bonus. It was previously a morale bonus, so that's kind of one of the things that they're talking about, making it not more usable for other more. I'm trying to think of the word, compatible. There we go, with other buffs and stuff. But it will include bonuses to attack, damage, save versus fear, and universal spell power, which I think the universal spell power is a new thing. But I'm not positive on that.
It is new, yeah. The universal spell power is new.
These start at a base of +1, and then +3 to the universal spell power. The maximum values will be damage +8, which is 4 from Bard levels, 3 from War Chanter, and 1 from Fate Singer. Attack 8, same breakdown. Stays fears also +8, same breakdown. And then universal spell power will be up to 30, so it'll be 4 from Bard levels, 3 from War Chanter, and 3 from Fate Singer times 3 per increment.
Yep. And these are the same values as before. So you could get +8 before, it's still +8, so it hasn't gone up or down. So
except for the universal spell power, which is new.
Which is all new.
Yay.
I love it.
Yeah, that's kind of fun. Inspired Competence now grants a +4 music bonus to all skills, which I believe is 2 higher. Isn't Competence +2?
Yes, it is 2 higher.
Yeah.
Yep. And again, because it's music, it stacks with competence items as well.
Which it did not before. Or was it a morale bonus before? I don't remember. It didn't stack with some things. Inspired Greatness now grants a music bonus to PRR and healing amplification, as well as 20 temporary hit points, which I believe this is kind of all new stuff. Because I don't believe it did PRR or healing amplification. It was just temporary hit points, right?
Yeah. So it didn't do physical resistance rating, but it did do temporary hit points. Right. Although apparently the way it was actually worded, apparently there was like a thing in War Chanter where you could add passive physical resistance rating, and the ability in War Chanter always actually added physical resistance rating to Inspire Greatness. It just wasn't labeled, so nobody knew.
Right.
Now it's just going to tell you.
So the other thing this does, so it's 10 healing amp, which will always stay, but Music of the Dead will now add 10 negative healing amp, and Music of the Makers will add 10 repair amp. And also, the 12th level core of War Chanter will change the temporary hit points to your charisma, but double in epics. And I think that was charisma stat, right? Not bonus. They typed it backwards.
It says charisma bonus. I'm not sure. I would assume it would be charisma stat.
I
like
thought
it would be for like warlocks and stuff.
I'm trying to look really quick to see if I found it, because I remember seeing it and then I'm like, well, no, it's correct, and I think that's probably find it later and it'll be correct then. So cool. You get negative amp and repair amp, so that's kind of fun. And suffice to say, if you take the fighting spirit, the 12th core and War Chanter, it will be much better. Your max values are PRR is plus 12. So 3 from the base, 6 from War Chanter, and 3 from Fate Singer. Inspire Heroics will give a plus 4 music bonus to all saves, plus 4 music bonus to armor class, and a plus 4% music bonus to dodge.
This is an awesome change. Yeah.
I mean, it was pretty good before. It's a lot better. So those are the songs. And this is a little confusing because they said Inspire Courage was going to be part of the aria, and then they listed it in the songs, and then they list the aria. So
the way that they're writing it is that these are just the songs you get from being a bard, because they're not changing the name of the feats.
Right.
Yeah.
The wording's so the aria. This is the constantly playing music that follows the bard from place to place. It's constantly active, requires no additional input from the player. The aria is a large area of effect that matches the distance of the current War Chanter passive auras. The aria is only active if the character has at least something that would be applied. So a bard level 1 and with 3 ranks to perform, same requires before. It's Inspire Courage. You get Inspire Greatness. Shield Chant, the Arcane Shield Chant is now part of the aria. That's providing 2, 4, or 6 elemental resistance. Iron Skin Chant is now part of that, providing DR 2, 4, 6. Yay. And 2, 4, 6 more PRR granted from the Inspire Greatness. Reckless Chant is now part of the aria. That's Double Strike and Universal Spell Power. The Expeditious Chant is now part of it. Now this is interesting. Plus, so the Expeditious Chant is part of the aria.
Yes.
Which means it's constantly pulsing. Which means you're constantly giving everyone 5, 10, or 15% action boost bonus to movement speed?
Yes, which means when you when you're with the bard, you have the move speed, and then when you walk away after 10 seconds, your movement speed goes down.
But, I mean, that's like, is this not absurdly fantastic?
That's literally in the tree right now.
Is it?
You don't play War Chanter. Yeah, it's at the top row. It's already there.
Oh, is it a core 5?
Yeah, it's a tier 5. All of these things, the chants,
that's why,
these are all just the War Chanter abilities. Yeah.
I'm tier 5 in Spell Singer. This may need to change. That's insane.
Yeah.
That just makes so as long as you're near the bard, including the bard is now 15% faster.
Yeah, exactly. And because it's action boost, it stacks with monk movement speed and barbarian movement speed. It works with. It doesn't move with rogue or bard.
Oh, it doesn't.
Additional movement speed, because the bard one counts as an action boost because it comes from the tree.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chant of Power. Also part of the aria is 2, 4, 6 movement speed or melee and ranged damage. And spell critical chance for all spells. That's still pretty good, and we'll hear more about that later. Inspire Excellence, plus 2 music bonus to each ability score is now part of the aura as well. Yeah. Also, aria from Fate Singer is getting a name change to Ballad, so we can use the aria name for this game feature. Fine. There you go. That's a lot of stuff in the aria.
That's a sick aura, man.
Yeah.
You stand next to the bard. I get plus 8 to hit, plus 8 to damage, 30 spell power, 6% crit chance, 6% melee damage, move speed, plus 2 to all ability scores, damage reduction, physical resistance rating, elemental resistance rating, temporary hit points. I'm running out of oxygen.
Plus 2 to each ability score.
Right? How good is that?
Fantastic.
You have to press a button.
Yeah. So the Bardic Inspiration. This is essentially one button for every single target bard song in the game. So this is the ones that we haven't hit yet, basically. Just like the old bard songs, this single song will apply all of the previously available single target songs, and the short lasting spell singer songs to one ally or yourself at the same time. this activation will cost 1 Bard song, just like the old Bard songs did. These are separate than the always on songs because of the relative power level, with one exception that will be explained below. Eld Edge's Inspiring Echoes will now cause a single target Bard song to always also apply to you as well. That may change. There was a lot of discussion about that in the forums. So these all last for the same amount of time, which is now 1 minute plus 30 seconds per Bard level. If you have an ability that rides along with the Bard song, such as Frolic, its duration will be changed to match your Bard songs. It will ride along your Bard inspiration instead. Effects and abilities that increase your Bard song duration will increase both the base Bard song effects and your Bardic inspiration, as well as anything else that comes along with the ride. So here we go. Bard level 3, Inspire Competence. Please note that you can now cast this on yourself. You did not used to be able to cast Inspire Competence on yourself. That's changing. You can cast on yourself.
Hey, everyone can give themselves a pep talk to do better.
Yeah, right. Inspire Heroics. This is the one that gives you dodge and AC boost. Yeah. Spell Song Vigor is now part of this song, restoring spell points over time. Please note that the duration for that is going to become insanely longer. We'll be talking about that again, I'm sure. Sustaining Song is now part of this song, restoring health. Music of the Dead will add to this, applying a negative energy heal to undead characters. Cool. Music of the Makers will add this as well, applying a repair heal to constructs and living constructs. Really cool. These all scale with positive, negative repair spell power, respectively. This was an AoE, but now is a single target due to the technical complication of dynamically filtering undead-specific heal over time effects, as they need to be able to tell if you're a Pale Master at the time of application to avoid putting the wrong heal on you, and presumably killing you, which would be really funny. This is probably This is probably where most of the controversy came from. Let's come back to that. Spell Song Trance is now part of the song, granting a +1 music bonus to all DCs and 10% music bonus spell discount. Is that DCs includes tactics?
No, that is only spells.
Yeah. Song of Arcane Might is part of this. That's the +1 to caster level, so it's the same. Song Fragments from Fate Singer now apply when you use your Bardic Inspiration. They are otherwise unchanged in effect. The same is true for anything that you should trigger on any Bard song, and now works on this song instead. Includes single shot effects such as Prodigy or Words of Encouragement. Okay, so cool. It's single target. Well, should we talk about this stuff now, or should we keep going?
I think it's probably just a good time just to include it in.
All right, let's talk about it. So the biggest controversy I saw was everyone like, but you're making a sustaining song. Now I'm going to have to cast it on everybody as opposed to just cast it out there. Like, well, yes, this is true. But it will ride along with all these other songs that you were probably casting anyways. Possibly. And it's going to last for, 20 minutes?
Yeah, so it's going to last for, if you quickly do the math, it's 11 minutes with no bardic duration. And bards can get upwards of 180% song duration. So if you wanted to, you can have it last for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So it's not that, it does suck to have to do it on multiple people, but it's not that big of a deal.
Well, the thing I noticed a lot was, the critique I saw from a lot of people was, you're making me cast this song that I want to cast for I was casting for everyone. And it was mostly this song, but there were some other songs in there as well. You're making me cast this song on everybody as opposed to the entire group. Well, yes, that means you're going to have to cast, if you want to cast on everyone, that's 12, you're going to sing it 12 times. But you're probably singing some of these other songs as well. I'm just going to guess that you're going to cast at least a couple of these already. So it piggybacks on everything. The other part about that is, right now, it fully, I don't know fully, but like I think mine lasts for about 5.5 minutes. So that means if I can make this last 20 minutes, plus all this other stuff, right, and the spell song Vigor, which also only lasted for 5 minutes, if that, or somewhere in that range. So every 5 minutes, I was potentially casting. Let's just say that there were 4 people that wanted spell song Vigor in my party, plus sustaining song. Plus, let's just say that I had to cast sustaining song twice because someone was running off, and I wanted to make sure that the tank got it because they were in front. You can go and realize it. So this feels like I'm going to be singing fewer songs. Oh, and by the way, I don't have to sing Inspire Courage anymore.
Yeah.
So,
If you think about it, in a raid, you're going to be spending more time singing songs at the beginning because you're going to have to do 11 songs or 12 if you don't have the Epic Elite Edge. Whereas before, when you were doing the raid, you'd only just sing 10. But the difference is then you don't sing for the rest of the raid
right.
unless someone dies. And if they do die, you sing a song and then they're back up to full speed. They got everything.
Yeah.
And then,
Which is where I think
you
a
know,
lot of people would. The hot take that I had was that that's where people were missing a lot of the changes and why this is a benefit, not generally going to be benefit. Because if that one person dies, you sing them one song. You don't have to sing them 3 songs.
that's
And
huge.
you don't have to sing the songs as often, right? Because they last longer. So at worst, this feels like a wash to me. But probably it's going to be very beneficial. It's always a little bit hard to say until you really get to play with it, but that's kind of where my hot take is.
I feel like all the players that play solo bards are just cheering because the time where you're like I'm going to do a quest by myself, hit one song, you're ready to go, you play the game. You got a small group of friends, even in like a party of 6, you're not even going to cast all these buffs. I mean, heck, half the time I'm not even going to put sustaining song on like.
I think we lost Strimtom. Yeah, so I think it's definitely going to be a lot better. The other thing is, because you're seeing it's a target thing now, for particularly things like the sustaining song and the spell song, Vigor. Well, I guess that was already with, but like the sustaining song, the area one, the ones that were just cast and everyone gets them, that was very much a, if they ran outside the area effect, they wouldn't get the song. Benefits from the song, but now you can kind of cast it at them, so it's a little bit harder for them to kind of get out of that range. Okay, let's talk about some of the other stuff. So there's some of the other changes. There's a new general feat available to bards at level 12. Above, you must have 15 ranks performed. It is improved bardic music. Inspired greatness now grants an additional +1 to all skills. Inspired heroics now grants an additional +1 to armor class, dodge, and saves. The lasting inspiration of the bardic epic feat will remain unchanged. That is, I'm pretty sure the no, it's not. It's something else. It's not the +2 ability scores. I think that makes your songs last longer. Let's see. The Fate Singer will continue to only provide the old activated song version of Inspire Courage, although it will be the new version of the Inspire Courage effects that lives entirely in the music channels. No aria or bardic inspiration, so the Fate Singer's ride-along buffs will trigger on both your bardic inspiration and the Fate Singer Inspire Courage, so you'll still be able to make use of it if you are not a bard. Probably that had to do with bards wouldn't get the aura. Hello, welcome back.
Hey, yeah, sorry, my the power flickered in my house and everything went off. So
yay!
Gotta love that.
That's okay. We're just talking about the feats. Do you want to finish your thought there? That you kind of cut out.
Yeah, my thought was just that even if you're playing in like a 6-man party, you're not always going to be casting all of the buffs on people. Most of the single target buffs are spell related, so most of the melee you probably don't want to spend the time to cast on them. Maybe for the sustaining song, but if somebody's ranged and they're the rogue in the back and they're not really doing anything, unless you have to. But in most cases, if you have all of the buffs like sustaining song, you probably also got cure or heal. You're going to cast that on them instead anyway. I feel like sustaining song is good, but it still is only like 20 points every like 6 seconds or something. So it's not a make or break situation for me, at least. That's kind of like where I land on it.
Did sustaining song, does its current version factor in positive spell power? I think it does.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. I think my hot take and where I find I kind of get torn is the idea that it scales with negative spell power or with repair spell power, but bards have no way to get that. Like it doesn't come into the tree, and then you have to get items for it. I feel like there needs to be some way to jerry rig it so it all works off.
Do you really need to though? I mean, if this character is relying on repair instead of healing, I hate to break it to you, you're probably not building your character to the optimum party, anywhere near the optimum party format. If you're a negative, if you're undead, well, you know what? This is giving you healing that I couldn't give you before, so live with it.
Take what you can get. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
It is interesting though. They seem to be between this and Converter. They seem to, from Arthur, there's a little bit more there for healing for Pale Masters these days. Great. Okay, so let's see. Other Fate Singer's abilities will scale your bard songs in new ways. Fortuna will add more PRR and personal fort and reflex saves. Allure will add more universal spell power, and then perform, haggle, bluff in one song. Tailwind, the third tier will actually grant one more damage from Inspire Courage, but I think it already does. And then you also get +1, 2, or 3 competence to damage from missile attacks, and Lucky is +1 to attack at tier 3, and then some concentration and diplomacy and UMD in one song. War Chanter. War Chanter's 12th level core, Fighting Spirit, now reads +10 hit points and +1 damage from Inspire Courage. Your Inspire Greatness now uses your Charisma score. This one I believe is the one that's correct for its temporary hit points, and that doubles in epics. So, if you have like Charisma of, 70, reasonable to get for a bard.
Mm-hmm.
That's 140 temporary hit points in epics. And yeah, that's pretty cool. And that's in the aria, right?
That is part of the aria, so you don't got to do anything, and it's every 12 or 10.7 seconds. It's going to pulse out and hit everybody.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
Do you remember when they nerfed the Warlock temporary hit point aura? This feels
no,
like
the temporary hit point aura was fine. It was the shining through the
shining through. Yeah, okay, sure.
But the Warlock one is way more offensive because you can get the aura down to 2 seconds, so it applies every 2 seconds, and you can get your Constitution way over 100.
Right.
Whereas this is like not even close. But still, though, it's way better.
I mean, if you're getting this every 10 seconds, I mean that's 140 hit points every 10 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
That is not insignificant.
No, it's a great buffer, honestly.
Yeah. Let's see. War Chanter's 18th level core, Victory Song, now range. The range of your bardic area is doubled. You have +20 hit points and base attack bonus equal to your character level. The War Chanter Capstone is now, you can expend a bard song to scream the songs of your frozen ancestors, forcing enemies in an area to make a fortitude save versus freeze or be slowed significantly. Either way, they take cold damage over time. This was changed to the War Chanter's Capstone no longer making mechanical sense in the new bard song flow. There's no need to give music bonuses when everything's already a music bonus.
Which is a really fancy way of saying, okay, yeah, we did take +5 to hit and damage out of the capstone. Here's a new freeze spell.
Right.
Because it used to be you would cast Inspire Heroic, and it gave you the music bonus to +5 extra to hit and damage, which was really nice. And it also gave 15 PRR as well. And it was great because that stacked with the other bard buff. So bards could technically give +13 to hit and damage. And you could even use an Epic Allied Edge to get that applied to everybody.
What I'm getting here is they really want me to play my bard more.
Yes. Play your bard.
All right. So the current animation is... So they did some time. Current animation is 4.7 seconds. 12 times is 56.4 seconds to fully buff an entire raid group with every single song for the full duration. Woohoo.
Yeah.
As a bit of quick comparison, given that Spell Song Vigor is currently also single target, the current time to fully buff an entire raid group with every single song is 56.4 seconds, plus however long it takes to sing literally every single other song in the game. And it lasts longer. That's a quick... I mean, I'm not currently casting Spell Song Vigor on everybody in the party.
No.
But I am now, because they're getting everything else in there, too. Yeah.
Well, if you want to break it down, think of it like this. If you're doing a raid, there's going to be like an AFK guy at the start, so you got to wait anyway. And then if you cast the songs and you have to wait 10 minutes, no worries. You got 20 more minutes of your songs left.
Yeah, right. Song of Heroism for War Chanter isn't mentioned. This is a question. I know what the plan is from Players' Council, but have there been any changes since? And two, I'm sure others are also wondering, or will wonder what they think about it. So it's unchanged currently. The duration will be standardized and actually give the Fear Meter it's supposed to have, but if it does end up changing, it'll become an Inspiration Ride-Along buff. interesting. So that's not a part of that, but it's also kind of nice to be able, I guess, just cast that to everybody. I don't know.
Yeah,
Minor.
I'd
minor
rather it
blip.
not be on inspiration because it's not right now.
Sure.
But if the sacrifice to get the fear immunity working is to shove it on inspiration, I mean, I'd rather it work.
Yeah. Let's see, different forms. So it sounds like this is another question. It sounds like use a song on Pale Master who's in undead form. They drop form for whatever reason. They'll now have 10-minute quote buff of inflict moderate wounds damage over time.
You can't stop me. I can kill the party.
Yeah. As well as possibly a song on a Warforged Druid out of wild shape. They changed to a Wolf or Bear form. The 10-minute buff of immune repair symbol dot. Also to electric scent. Yeah, so this is why they need to drop it to single target. Heal over times that cross barriers like this are complicated. They have a plan to drop the wrong heal off of you if you ever change your state. Don't worry. Oh,
Well, I
do we
mean, you
have
got to
to?
prepare for all the Warforged Druids, man. All those Warforged Druids out there.
I mean, any way that we can kill more Pale Masters to get more Pale Masters out of the game is great. No, I'm just kidding. So let's see. There's a question about the Eld's Edge and Inspiring Echoes. Does this allow the Bard to gain the bonuses currently only applied to allies? Which is actually generally just yes, not just because of this. But the timing on the revamp did influence kind of item making. It's now possible to make a lot of fun Bard items that weren't feasible technically before. Expect a lot more than just Sonic, some more Sonic, and some Anthem in the future for Bard itemization. Yay. They did kind of speak out on the... So, the Lost of Sustaining Song is a directional heal. They're going to just give you... They're calling it the best of both worlds. I'm not entirely sure that that still fits, but now you can get... So this replaces Boast, which was the not-so-memorable temporary hit point single-shot song from War Chanter, was changed to Soothing Song. Sing a brief song to apply a small positive heal to your targets and nearby party members. It'll play exactly like the old Sustaining Song did, but with no lingering heal over time. It's also only Tier 2 in War Chanter, so not completely out of the reach of the earliest portions of the game. I think it's a pretty good compromise.
Me too. I think the idea that War Chanter gets this thing where you can just use your extra Bard songs, because as a War Chanter, you probably won't use any of them, because it's all built into the aria. This is kind of a good thing. And I bet almost every single person that listens to this podcast has no idea what the ability Boast is or even does.
Temporary hit points.
Well, other than reading the post.
I don't know. To be honest, it's been a while since I've actually read a lot of this stuff on my Bard, so some of this stuff is starting to glaze over. Anyways, let's see. It's in War Chanter because there really isn't room in Spellsinger, and Boast is kind of dumb. So they're gonna bend some rules so you can have. I think it fits in War Chanter though, because War Chanter still has some. War Chanter has a ton of positive healing all over the place. So it's not like healing is not out of the place for this year. So, anyways, completely unrelated. When you use your bardic inspiration, it now randomly picks one of the available Bard music songs loops to play. So expect a little bit more musical variety when you're passing out buffs. Yay!
Ooh, I like that a lot. That's a really great change.
I mean, I would really love it to can we use the riff for combat in the Fearland Carnival?
Yeah,
that would be fun to have.
That would be a good one. I like that.
There'd be a lot of pretty good ones there. All right.
What they should do is just reach into the sound files for Lord of the Rings Online and steal all the cool minstrel riffs they have in that game. Just shove them in.
I don't know about that, but there's probably some issues.
Songs.
I'm sure I haven't actually played it, but there's probably a lot of great songs there. But I don't know if they would thematically work. But some more, there must be kind of some fun things there to do. Like say, I don't know, during Night Revels, have a spooky song, or during Crystal Cove, you could have a pirate song or something. I don't know.
Oh, like a pirate shanty when you're going around. Yeah, that'd be cool. Only if you put points in the swashbuckler tree, though.
Sure. Or just if you spend points in swashbuckler, like as a bonus effect, you get a different song type added to your thing. Coming soon, cosmetic songs.
Oh, actually, that's a great idea.
Yeah. I think there's a dev listening in the chat too. Maybe he's writing this down. You're
like
welcome.
A song slot, and then so it just goes next to your cloak, and then when you play your songs, you just do like an AC/DC riff or something.
Be fun. Let's see. So there you go. That's all of it. That was a lot. It took almost the entire news section of the show. So I think we kind of already covered. Anything else you want to say about Bard songs?
No, I think we did a really good job. We covered it.
Yeah, I think it'll be better. So I'm kind of excited about it.
And if it's worse, not a lot of people are playing bards anyway, so it won't affect too many of us.
I recently like whittled my characters, like the characters I was playing, down to like 5, and then they came out with Vistani, and so my rogue kind of got back into the thick of things, and then my warlock kind of eventually fell off because he was mired in TR project hell, and then then they had the falconry tree, and now I'm kind of having fun with my monk, and now they're gonna make me want to play my bard again. Not helping. Anyways, speaking of falconry, so they fixed a couple stuff. They have verified and are testing a fix for death from above, hitting the player if you have no target. Oops.
Whoa, that's awesome! I didn't know that was a thing.
Oops. The only case they found of Tear of the Flesh being applied to the Falcon Order was through the bug mentioned above, if you made your save. They found and corrected animations which resolved the 1.5 to 2 second pause occurring after melee attacks. They fixed the issue of players using ranged weapons playing their reload for that attack ultra slow. Also, they investigated death from above. The DC appears to be correct. However, the death effect itself changed to operate like Assassinate, which was the original intent. This means it doesn't work on elementals, oozes, constructs, and undead, and didn't give the immunity feedback properly. After reviewing this, they are going to return it to its original death with no racial genus restrictions. Still blocked by saving throws, being a boss, or having death block. And they're going to include Assassinate in this change. Citing the difficulties to build up these Tier 5 commitments, our current view is that they can get a pass on the usual limitations to many death effects have. So my rogue can now assassinate oozes. Can I tell you how exciting this sounds?
It does sound pretty exciting, although I will say I've been spending a lot of time in the Reaper 10 recently, and one of the most exciting things about having a Falconer in your party is they can just get rid of all the death block immune monsters. So that being changed makes me wonder how many people are going to swap out of their Falconers, because you can't just do that anymore. It should get fixed. It should get fixed. But I know some people are going to reroll now after that change goes through.
Those are people that reroll after every change, so
yeah, probably.
They'll be okay. They have not found any line of sight issues yet, but they'll be looking into a list of areas recently posted. And there's no schedule on how quickly they can patch this, but they're aware of the aggravation issues that these are causing, and they will do their best. There you go. There's some fun changes.
Yeah. If you played Falconer when it came out and you're like, man, this is garbage, I gotta wait and all this other stuff, and you hated it, go back and try again. The new Falconer changes. It went from like frustrating to play to super duper fun. I highly recommend it. 10 out of 10.
The one thing about it is if you're really relying on that trip part of it, you really kind of got to lead with that because it takes a little while to land. But you can throw it now, which is fun if you're melee.
Yeah, and it has infinite range. As long as the target, you can click it. Doesn't matter how far away it is. Just put your max draw distance at high and snipe guys from across the planet. There's no limit. I've tested it in the Explorer areas.
Bonus days. Plus 20% Reaper XP through the weekend. The store sales limited release through October 24th. You can get plus 8 ability tomes and 7 to 8 upgrade tomes. The Night Revels continues through November 4th. You can store more loot, 20% off through October 12th on character banks, shared banks, deposit box, plat storage, inventory space, and bags. And you can also get 5 blue Big B Guiding Hands and 5 orange Big B Guiding Hands with the coupon code BIGBs through October 25th. There you go. All right, community news. The 305th Chronicle, Fridays on Ice, is celebrating its 100th episode this Friday starting at 10 p.m. Eastern. So if you're listening to this live, you have a little bit of time before that happens. But otherwise, you're going to have to catch it recorded. But hey, 100 episodes. Well done, guys.
It's exciting. That's awesome.
Yeah. It's always fun when someone gets up to that range. See, the Cavalier Cavalry screenshots and wallpapers on Stormreach, Forgotten Realms, and Ravenloft is available. The community spotlight, the comment. How would you get rid of a ghost? Is turn undead too obvious?
Well, you got to turn undead to the Ghostbusters. How do you get rid of a ghost?
I mean,
Probably lure him with candy.
implosion works.
Implosion works really well.
Yeah,
So I think that I'm gonna say probably Tomb of Jade. Tomb of Jade for $500.
also works. The
Yeah.
guild for the week. The Schizophrenics Anonymous. Nice name. Very small guild recruiting on Arganessen. Feel free to message Reverend Kane in game or PM on the forums. Let's see the fan site news. We got a shout out for D&D Kasplat. That is so not DDO Kasplat, D&D Kasplat. This was D&D night on DDO stream. I was the DM. This was last Sunday. We had a lot of fun. I have listened to the introduction of Mr. Buttons about 4 or 5 times and laughed every time. A lot of fun. And there will be another D&D night this Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern time. And every Sunday, as much as that's the plan, is the 7 to 10 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday nights. I'll be doing D&D, sponsored by Fantasy Grounds on DDO stream. Let's see.
I tuned into a little bit. It was pretty fun.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun. It was pretty crazy. And it is also, if you missed it, it is on DDO's YouTube page. And I timestamped in the comments when the party meets Mr. Buttons. If you want to find out what that was all about, it's hilarious. Streaming with Even, Shroudpalooza was flagging on Charlona. You can watch that. Damsels of DDO had episode 98. I trolled Lessa very well with my hairstyle in that. Hashtag hairflip. See, you can read Hazy Shade of Winter in the Return of House of Kraus blog. Brock and Friends did Night Revels. DDO Players News had episode 197. A lot of people getting you got Damsels at 98. DDO Players is almost at 200, and Fridays and Ice is at 100. So yeah, let's see.
It's exciting. More people doing these like segmented shows. It's great.
We got a shout out for our episode last week for part 1 of Update 40, our review. Adventures on Galanda, Inside the Magic Circle with Tone Station. Check that out. And Axel had a video on his thoughts for the updates to Falcon Retreat. And there you go. So the other big thing this week, DDO Extra Life. So on Sunday, that's tomorrow, October 20th, from 10 a.m. Eastern until at least midnight Eastern, they'll be hosting a DDO Extra Life marathon on twitch.tv/DDO Stream and raising money during that time. DDO Stream members, team members will take turns playing the game and raising money for this important charity. They'd love it if you'd feel free to stop by and say hello. This is a great way to celebrate Extra Life and hang out with other DDO players. Expect some giveaways and fun stuff in the chat. Extra Life is a non-profit organization that raises money for Children's Miracle Network affiliated hospitals. So you can find out about that. We'll link to their post on this on the forums. You can get all this information. You can donate to the team. Jerry has his own donation page. You can sign up for Extra Life if you want to raise money yourself. Anyone is welcome to join the Standing Stone Games team, provided you're willing to do your part to raise money to help sick kids. They have set a goal of raising $3,000 for the Boston Children's Hospital. Since the DDO development team is based in the Boston area. You are welcome to donate to any member of Standing Stone Games team, and the money will go to the Children's Hospital they have designated. Let's see, incentives. If you donate at least $10, you'll be entered into various DDO point drawings that are unlocked by a Standing Stone Games team reaching certain milestones. If you don't, just let them know that you donated. If you donate at least $5, you'll be entered into the drawings for the Ravenloft Collector Editions. Hey.
That's sweet.
Yeah. It's one important thing. Extra Life doesn't provide him with enough information to match your donation to a forum DDO community name, and you don't get donation info you donate to other team members. So if you do donate, you need to let him know that, and that's all in here as well. The incentives. If $1,000 is raised, there'll be 500 DDO point codes with 5 picks from the community loot list that will be randomly distributed. And then 5 more at 2,000, and 5 more of each of those at 3,000. Also, anyone who donates at least $5 will be entered into a drawing for one of 5 Ravenloft Collector's Editions will award at the end of the fundraiser, provided you've given them the contact information, yada, yada, yada. There's also individual incentives. If you do $5, you get a forum title. You can add more custom titles if you need to. You can get a custom forum avatar at $10. $20 is 2 picks from the community loot list, and $30 you get another loot pick. These are all cumulative. So the important thing is they are raising money for kids that are sick. So that's really awesome.
Just to make sure, all of these incentives, these are all in U.S. dollars, correct?
I'm assuming so, given that he used a dollar sign.
Well, I mean, there's Canadian dollars. I mean, Australian dollars. So I double check. There's a lot of international DDO players.
I'm assuming U.S. dollars.
Yeah, I think so.
But yeah. He also gave out a shout out. Shardapalooza is kicking axe. They're the biggest fundraiser this year so far. Donating to them counts. They are also doing this fundraiser for both DDO and Lotro. So you can use your donation can also be used to get the Lotro incentives if you prefer, or in addition to. So, yes, lots of fun stuff there. So it's a great opportunity to support sick kids. So really want to give a shout out to that. And again, the stream is tomorrow, Saturday, October 20th. Oh, hey, I think it looks like they added an hour. It now kicks off at 9 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. Jerry will be streaming from noon to 4. Shadowpalooza taking over after that. Other DDO streamers are also helping out. So there you go. If you'd like to support Extra Life and Team Strimtom Games, that's how you can do that. Let's see. DDOCast news. DDOCast Splats will be going again on Tuesdays, 5:30 p.m. Pacific time. This week we are doing Vault of Night, so we'll be doing a raid. Yeehaw.
Exciting.
Hopefully we can not party wipe. A reasonable goal, I think. Also, I said D&D night on DDO stream. We had that was me DMing, and then the Damsels and Rents and Tay and Nobob from the development team was there. We had a lot of fun. You can check that out. Our group will be back the second Sunday in November. Until then, Jerry's campaign, The Witch and the Woods, will be the next couple weeks. Nice holiday, Halloween themed. I have heard that players were instructed to have other characters ready to go for when they die. There you go. All right, I think we're ready to close out the show here. Anything you want to plug, or any more comments you have on stuff we talked about?
Yeah. I'll take an opportunity to plug myself. So you can catch me on the DDO stream every single week from 6 to 9 p.m. I also stream intermittently throughout the week, but my work schedule is kind of wonky, so it's always at random times. If you want to know when, you can always catch me on Twitter or on my Discord channel. And as well, I'm trying to put more effort into like my content because I want to help grow the pool of DDO YouTube producing stuff. So I've been posting at least one, if not more. I've been averaging about 2 videos a week now on DDO, covering different topics, character builds, quests, all sorts of stuff. So if that seems like your cup of tea, check me out on YouTube as well as Strimtom. So hopefully I can, do something, make something funny. I don't know.
And you're really into build stuff too. I think a lot of your topics kind of tend to be in that things too. So
I do a lot of build stuff, and then also when like new changes to the game come out, and because I spend a lot of time playing at the end game, I try to focus on more of like how do these things work if you're trying to make like a really, really good character. I'm planning on, I've been putting the works of putting together a series of like, avoiding pitfalls and like just tips and tricks to make all your characters a little bit better. I'm going to be building a video series and all the different topics like defense and offense and get more health and stuff like that.
Right. All right. So thanks for Strimtom for joining me today. Thanks to everyone for listening to the show, and thanks to all the people who helped make DDOCast happen. And thanks to Stone Games and Wizards of the Coast and to Cybridge for hosting the podcast. If you'd like to support the show, you can visit our website, DDOcast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. If you have a DDO-themed webpage or you Twitch DDO and like to be featured on our website, let me know, DDOcast@gmail.com. Best way to do that. And you can hit us up at DDOcast.com for show notes, MP3s, our calendar, previous shows, and other fun stuff. If you'd like to be part of the show, if you have a comment in this episode, a question you'd like to hear us answer, a topic you'd like to hear us discuss, or you just want to say hi, you can leave us a comment or anywhere you can watch us, or you can email us at DDOcast@gmail.com. You can also find us on social media and follow us for the latest cast updates. At DDOcast on Twitter is the best place. Okay, so stay tuned. Coming up next is part 2 of our Update 40 review. All right, we are back talking about Update 40. This is part 2 of our review. I'm your host, Patrick. With me this week, we have Voodoo.
Hello, everyone.
And we also have Arkat, who is probably still muted.
Yes, I'm still muted. I'm good now. Thanks for having me on again, Patrick.
Yeah, no problem. So last time we talked about Night Revels, we talked about Killing Time, so we're going to get, which is all the content. So now we're going to talk about some of the other stuff that's there. And it should be a lot of fun. So let's talk about the loot, because we got new loot with there's a couple different areas. So the Sentinel's heroic loot got changed. You no longer need sigils, which is probably the most critical thing. The loot, I would say the loot itself there is, it's fair to middling for the level range. Nothing really crazy going on there.
Yeah, nothing really to talk about there. It's just it's there. It's like your level 7 stuff.
Yeah,
big deal.
Although I would say that there's a couple things there's some things that got added to the loot, those pieces of loot, just because there's new abilities on them, but they're also like the scaling abilities. So it just brings it in line with it. We've seen this before last couple updates with other packs, right? But it's nice to have that in line. Linabelle has been dropping more hints that this is leading up to a change to the scroll seal shard mechanic. Please, yes.
Yeah, please.
See, there's also some new Night Revel stuff. Let's kind of camp there for a little bit. I'll go first because I haven't gone first yet. So I will say that I'm not sure I'm a fan of the green Reaper costume. I don't know. It doesn't work for me. But I do like the red and blue cloaks. And I'll talk a little bit more about cloaks in a minute. But I do like those looks. I'm not sure how I feel about the Vargul wings. Have you seen those? The wings on people's heads?
They're kind of silly, but
Yeah, I saw Jacaroma walking around with them yesterday. And I was like, really? Just two tiny little wings like that, flapping around out the guy's ears. Yeah,
it's a little weird. Definitely a little weird. There's a new buckler, which looks perfectly serviceable. And there's a new rune arm, which shoots ghosts, which is kind of fun. I do really appreciate this one has disruption on it, which is not a common thing you can find on rune arms at all, so that's kind of nice. But the other big thing is, all the stuff became bound to account now instead of bound to character, which I love.
That was a good change.
Yeah, real good change.
It really kind of makes it so you can kind of make a couple of twink pieces and pass some pieces around and stuff like that. So I really like that change. What about you guys? What do you think about the Night Revels loot?
Two things about the rune arm. One, they made a level 7 and level 7 and 21 version, and I kind of was hoping that they would have made a level 28 version. And
Sure.
On top of that, there's something wonky going on with the ghost shooting thing. And I noticed this on Lamagna. If you're like firing at one of the, for example, one of the dummies or the kobolds, and if you're doing it at a distance, the ghosts shoot out and they go and basically go to the kobold, but they don't do any damage.
Interesting.
There was a post about this on the forums where you had to actually be like really, really close, like in melee range, in order for the ghosts to do any damage. And Linabelle confirmed that something wonky, that was her word, is going on with the ghosts. So she's looking in how to fixing that.
Yeah, that I think that's kind of outside of her confirmed skill set, so it might be something that one of the other guys has to fix, unfortunately. What do you think, Voodoo? Anything you want to mention about the Night Revels loot besides how much money you're making on the?
I love Night Revels. I think it's a model event. Every year since it's come out, they've added new content and new loot. Tons of stuff here for people who like cosmetics. I'm not really into cosmetics, but I appreciate that stuff is there, and I appreciate that there is just the new rune arm and the buckler. It keeps it gives veteran players a reason to come back. I think it's great, and if, like you already said, our old bound to account stuff, our bound to character stuff is now bound to account. So that's awesome. If I had to nitpick about anything, I'm gonna pick at the fact that some of the older stuff probably needs to be revisited. Because 2% dodge on a level 16 cloak, or plus 2 necromancy on a level 20 robe is just not cutting it.
No,
But
it's an old loot scaling, that's for sure.
yeah, so that could be revisited, but overall, I love it, and I think I'm very pleased with the new stuff that they've come out with new loot every year, and this year is no exception to that.
Okay, let's talk about the loot in Killing Time. What do you guys think about that loot?
Well, that sums it up.
Yeah, no,
it's pretty much everybody's response.
Yeah, it's too much. It's too much. There's just way too many things in the raid.
You think there's too many things, really? Interesting.
I think there's way too many things. I mean, geez, Louise, there's just a lot of things. For you to actually get something you want seems kind of a. I mean, it's a good thing they're handing out runes, is really what I should say. But there's one piece of loot in particular that I really, really like, and that's the gauntlets. That does the big giant lightning strike on a Vorpal.
Sure.
And
I've
I
always
played
loved
around with
lightning
that.
strikes.
Oh
it's
yeah,
so satisfying.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. And I played around with it on Lamania, and had a single weapon fighting dude with perfect weapon fighting, or perfect single weapon fighting, and so that you get the Vorpal not only in the 20, but you also get it on the 19. So like 10% of the time when you're swinging, you get this big giant lightning strike, and it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. I would say that my kind of take on it is the weapons are kind of underwhelming. They have some nice looks to them, but there's nothing there that really stands out. And part of that is because they intentionally designed some things to fit in between so they have the weapons from Baba and Strahd, and these were kind of meant to fill in some of those gaps of where there's no weapons, like weapon types that aren't covered in there. The problem is I think if you look at all the weapon types you can choose from, the ones that are popular and you see a lot of people running around with are covered in Strahd and Baba, which means that the ones that are being covered in Killing Time are kind of not really popular. People like quarterstaffs, and that's great. The quarterstaffs in there, but a sickle as an offensive weapon.
Yeah, hand axe, whippy.
Yeah, there's some stuff in here that's kind of underwhelming in terms of those. At least at first glance. And there's some fun stuff that some of them do. I mean, the one quarterstaff that's geared towards favored souls has some fun stuff on it. I don't know that it's really doing a whole lot of great stuff for you other than that, but yeah, I don't know. The armors I feel like are kind of they also feel a little underwhelming compared to other stuff you get from Ravenloft to me.
Yeah, a lot of things are duplicated here. I mean, strength 20, big deal. PR 52, big deal.
I mean, it's different options. The problem is I don't think they comparable to the Ravenloft armors.
No.
Or even the armors that you can get out of Tempest Spine and Hound of Zoriat.
Hound, right.
The only thing that these ones really kind of have going for them are there's the Magic Null thing, which potentially is interesting, but I'm not sure. When you get to the accessories, though, I think you get a couple more interesting things going on there. There's some nice. That's where I think some of the nicer items are. There's still some that are kind of I'm not super impressed with. You can get better in from other places. The kind of notable exceptions are the gauntlets that you mentioned. Although the thing that strikes me about that one is more like lightning absorption 76.
That's a nice feature.
My tank needs this if we're going to be running this raid more, because there's a lot of lightning damage. And the assassin ring that has assassinate and insightful assassinate on a ring.
Yes.
Especially when you match that with the falconry tree. I think that's kind of the ones that really stand out. There's a trinket that has insightful wisdom on it, which I think is a nice trinket and comparable to that one feels pretty comparable to some of the stuff you can get out of Ravenloft. But then you're looking at set bonus problems and some stuff. There's
speaking of sets, the Bracers of the Mountain and the Cloak of the Mountain have a really nice set bonus if you're in any way acid spec'd. Like if you're an acid sork,
right.
That's a really nice set bonus. But unfortunately, that's just two really hard spots to fit stuff in, because there's other really nice stuff in those spots. So
yeah. So there's some nice stuff in there. I think here's the tension for me. I think it plays well if you take a step back and say, what did we hit with Ravenloft, and what kind of got missed with Ravenloft raids, and maybe even to a lesser extent the Tempest Spine and Hounded Soriat raids, and take a step back and say, okay, well, let's do a couple neat things with some items to kind of and give some different options. And I think that's good design. As a player, though, I look at this list, and for what I'm doing and what I have already, this list is not overly compelling. If I didn't have a bunch of that stuff, it might be more compelling. It really would be more compelling, but that's kind of where I land, I think, on the list.
I forgot, as soon as new loot is posted, it's very exciting. Read it immediately, and you're just drooling like, oh, and then like I forgot about this stuff like as soon as I got done reading it, and I thought I was going to use the caster ring, which that is the item there that invokes the most emotion out of me, and that ring just pisses me off
because of the -5 spell points, -5% spell points.
That
the will save.
For what we're getting, yeah. So first off, when I first read it, Insightful Spell Focus Mastery, I was really excited, but I was thinking exceptional. Okay, now I'm realizing, okay, Insightful Spell Focus Mastery, that's on the free Macabre Scepter that you get for running into the mist. So really, we can get that ability for free, but now that it's on a raid loot item, we get all these penalties, -5% to spell points, -4 to will saves. Are you kidding me? If that was exceptional spell focus mastery, maybe. So then it boils down to really the crux of that item for most casters is going to be 10% exceptional spell lore, because the improved Nightmare Guard, unless you're some niche tanky caster like me, which most of you aren't, then that doesn't mean anything to you. So
a guard for a caster, not the best thing in the world, right?
So now I'm also going to say about this loot, like the stuff that you can upgrade with those schisms, there's a freaking 8 items. Give me a freaking break. And 4 of them aren't even from the raid. It doesn't even make any sense to me. Like maybe you should make an upgrade to take that stupid penalty off of that ring. Maybe the rest of the items should be upgradable. But I mean, have you looked at the upgrade list? It's like you got your WPM items, White Plume Mountain items, Leopard's Chill out of Temple of Elemental Evil. How random is that? And then like a couple raid items. What is this? It's so weird.
It is weird. I definitely agree with that. And even those, the upgrades. Although I'm curious to hear what Arkat has to say about Black Razor, because he's really passionate about Black Razor, which is great. But it's, again, I kind of look at some of that stuff and like, how much better is this stuff than what I already have from Ravenloft? Is it better than what I have from Ravenloft? So,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'd like to insert my standard raid loot rant here because I love to raid, and I think raid loot should be special. And we can go back and look at some historical raids and see how like some of that loot is still awesome.
Okay.
Abbott is my favorite example because half the loot from the Abbott raid, the heroic Abbott raid, is still either relevant or awesome.
Sure.
Okay. Heroic green steel, still awesome. Maybe not as awesome as it was 5 years ago, but it's still awesome. I still use that for heroic leveling and even into like low B epics. Okay, and you can point to other examples like of items like VOD. You've got Tharn's goggles. That's still awesome. Um, and there are other examples we can point to. So I really wish that we'd have more items that were going to stand the test of time, and I'd really like to see them start adding some universally appealing items to these raids so that everybody's going to want it. And I always point to like unique augments. Like when augments, the new augment system first came out, we had something like the draconic or the
Right.
draconic
Yep.
soul gem. That was really cool. We had meridian fragment.
Still is
That was
pretty
really
cool.
cool. Right. So why don't what if this new raid had a freedom of movement augment? Now everybody who can't cast freedom of movement is going to want it. What
Ooh,
if this new
nice
raid
one.
had a 50 stacking heal amp augment in it? Or what if this new raid had 100 stacking hit points augment? Because melees need more hit points anyways. So these are the kinds of things that everybody's going to want, and these are such easy adds. Like these are so simple to add something like that, and then you suddenly inject universal appeal.
I'll give you a counterpoint with the augment thing, and I'm pretty sure I know. I agree. The augment thing is a great idea. The reason why they're probably not doing it is because they want to overhaul the entire augment system. So adding more augments would probably make that a more difficult thing to do.
I
Having
will
said that,
add that to the list of things that are not my problem.
Fair enough. I like what you're saying though. I'm just putting that counterpoint out there.
I've heard that counterpoint.
But I like what you're saying about I would even posit that the healing amp augment doesn't need to be stacking. It could just be a healing amp augment that I could slot in somewhere, and that'd be really helpful. I do think it's kind of ironic what you're saying, because you're talking about how like let's look back at these old raids and this loot that's standing the test of time, and we're talking about a raid that goes back in time, and the overarching loot design is to recreate old raid items as a new and different slot version. So a little bit of irony there. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that's not entirely fair, Patrick. I mean, you can upgrade, what do you call it, to Black Razor. It can still stay a great sword. I like the fact that they made a one-handed sword version of it, the
Yeah, that's
long
kinda
sword,
neat.
although a bastard sword version probably would have been better. But I'm okay with the long sword. That's
Sure.
fine.
What'd you
But,
think? What'd you think of the upgraded Black Razor?
Yeah, so they did two things with the upgraded, Black Razor. Excuse me, three things. They added another slot, augment slot. They added 42 vampirism, and it's the new vampirism, not the old vampirism. So it triggers like once every, few seconds instead of every hit, which would have been much better. And they made a slight change to the soul sucking ability. It's better, but it isn't that much better. The vampirism is better, but it's not, it's not a must have. And probably honestly the best thing they did to Black Razor was they added another augment slot. That's the best thing they did to it. So,
Sure.
I needless to say, I was a little disappointed in the upgraded version of Black Razor.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah, and even I'd say the all those upgraded weapons, there's some neat things kind of going on there. But again, I'm not sure that it really compels me to go for those.
The wave thing, when they made wave an orb, that was probably the best out of all the changes.
Yeah, that's a really neat one,
That's
I think.
that's the best thing they did.
Yeah.
I mean, having a throwable whelm, that's pretty cool, but the actual converting the wave into an orb so it's offhanded
Yeah.
was the best thing they did.
I like that. Let me get me wrong. I like what they did in like there's an upgrade system, and I like we said, there's the orb, there's the throwing version of Whelm, there's the one-handed version of Black Razor. Those are all really cool. I'm just not. I don't find any of the stuff that's there compelling to go and get.
If you're gonna come out with a new raid, I really want to be wowed, and that's not a World of Warcraft reference. Like, wow me. I want to be like, wow.
Sure. Get that. All right. So let's talk about Wood Elves. Have either of you guys tried the new Wood Elf?
I have not.
I haven't tried it yet, but I've been theory crafting some builds for Wood Elf. So
Yeah, sure. There's some interesting theory crafting you can do with it. I particularly like the and I mentioned this last time. There's kind of a fun thing that you could have. It ties in. You can tie in the bows. You can do like arcane archer, cleric, stuff there, which I think actually someone in my guild is doing. I haven't asked specifically kind of what they're doing with it, but there is kind of fun. Although I did notice, because I made a wood elf to play with Lessa and Mithri this weekend, and the arcane archer imbues are not applying. Which was a bit of a bummer. The primary are imbues. The secondary ones, the like bypassing damage reduction stuff, that was working,
Yeah.
but the other stuff was not.
okay, so none of the lightning arrows or
Yeah,
any of those other things were
the
working.
force arrows and the paralyzing arrows were not working, which were the two that I
Right,
was
okay.
really missing, because I was relying on the force arrows to shoot reapers, and that wasn't working.
Sure.
And I couldn't paralyze anything because that wouldn't apply either. But I will say that I did. I liked I had some fun with the look. I completely trolled Lessa with my hairstyle. Hashtag hairflip.
Sure.
On
Sure.
which, if you listened or watched the Damsels episode from this weekend live, then you'll understand. But so they had a nice look to them. A lot of some of the facial, like the look, like the facial features that you could do with them, like I didn't really understand what I was doing. Like I was cycling through them, like I don't see the what am I missing? What's going on? But I like their enhancement tree. I like how it's different than elves. I think this is a great alternative to, you want to play an elf and you don't want a -2 to Constitution or some of this other stuff. So I really like I like that as a different option a lot.
Oh
So.
yeah, for sure. That wood elf enhancement tree's got some pretty nice stuff. I mean, for the cores, you can take Dex or Strength. Those are pretty nice. But there's a couple of things with the enhancement tree that kind of bothers me a little bit. One of them is a bug, and that is one of the selectables. Faith of the Forest. You're supposed to be able to count your rapiers, falchions, short bows as favored weapons, regardless of your deity. And unfortunately, and if you go look at like your favorite of Orion or favorite of the Undying Court or whatever, that gives you proficiency and a +1 to hit. Unfortunately, the proficiency part is not applying. So even if you had, you were first level cleric and you had this particular Forest Origins multi-selector, Faith of the Forest, you would still not be, you would not be proficient in a falchion, for example.
Yeah, sure.
And the other thing that kind of bugged me a little bit is in tier 4, there's Forest's Finesse, and it allows you to use your Dex to damage for long swords, rapiers, scimitars, short bows, longbows, and falchions.
Falchions is
Well,
fun.
that's great. Yeah, exactly. But unfortunately, there's nothing, in any of the other trees that gives you Dex to hit for falchions. So
Sure.
you would figure that a tier 4 enhancement would give you both. I mean, considering you can get, Dex to hit and damage,
Or at least they'd give you it in tier 3, they'd give you to hit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
sure.
it would,
Yeah.
but it's only costing one action point. If you made it 2 action points and you were be able to do dex to damage and to hit, I think
Sure.
that would be worth it. But but you got to get dex to hit for falchions, and you can't. So that kind of bugs me. That bummed me out actually quite severely. I
No,
was really thinking of a cool barbarian build, wood elf barbarian build, and this totally ruined it for me.
Yeah, that's a good catch there. That's definitely kind of a bummer. I really like the wild step. I was kind of playing with that. That's kind of fun that you tumble and then you get to move a little bit faster and you get missile deflection. That was kind of
Missile deflection.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a pretty big deal. All right, let's talk about cloaks. What do you guys think about your cloaks?
I think the funnest thing, I think they're beautiful, and I think one of the funnest things is like, since there's like a million bazillion cloaks, like walking around and seeing like, oh, that's cool. What's that cloak? That's been a really neat aspect of cloaks coming out. There's just so many of them, and you're trying to see like all the different cloaks, and I know there's probably still a bunch that I haven't seen. So that's been a
Sure.
lot of fun.
I like the mimic hunt cloak is really really cool, and it goes
I haven't looked at
perfectly
that.
with the elocator's habiliment. Dims has he's running around with that combination on, and it looks really really great. So I think a lot of the cloaks they did really really well.
My one complaint with the cloaks is all of the cloaks that I was wearing when I logged in, I didn't like that they don't match the armor. And I'm not really a big cosmetics guy, but still some things just kind of need to match, right? Like those cloaks do not match at all.
Right.
Whatever. Like it does not work. But yeah, like that's why I like the Reaper cloaks, right? From Night Revels. Like those match really well with the Reaper armor. Thank goodness, because they're supposed to. But that was kind of my quick takeaway from that. I was like, oh, these cloaks. Hey, that person's got a really nice combination. Like, oh God, what am I wearing? Wait, turn it off, quick. So kind of some funness there in it.
In a similar vein, I will say that the Cloak of Flames, which is what one of my tunes was wearing at the time, should have been flames. That would have been really cool, but
Yeah, that would have been cool.
I was really campaigning for the Cloak of Invisibility not to show up at all.
Well, it's very translucent.
Is it? I haven't looked at it, but
Okay,
Yeah.
wait a minute. There's two different ones. There's like Strahd's
sure.
invisible cloak, and then there's the Cloak of Invisibility. One of them you can barely see.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
that's
cloak
good.
of invisibility is the one. Strahd's invisible cloak is actually invisible. You can't see it.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
Yep.
That's good. I haven't missed that. Okay. Anything else you guys want to say about cloaks? They're fun.
Thumbs up. Good job, devs.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with cloaks. It's something that probably should have been done long ago.
Yeah. Interesting to see some of the new ones, right? Maybe some fun chaser items.
I will say this: never thought we'd see them. People have been asking for them for years.
Sure.
I never thought we'd see them in this game.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. We're gonna talk about the monk nerf. And we've already talked about why and should it or should not have. So we're gonna try to focus on here is we're gonna acknowledge that it was a bummer and the loss of DPS and stuff, but we'll still talk about it, but not from the who for where should we have why stuff. So, Mr. Arkat, we were talking about this a little bit beforehand. I haven't experienced this in heroics. And you said you had some thoughts on that specifically.
Yeah, well, there's a lot of the damage that you get, the extra W's, half W's, whatever, come from like for example, the Shin-Tao Monk core enhancements, and they took away a lot of that, a lot of that damage. So you hurt the heroic monks, I think probably more than you hurt than the epic monks. I mean, the epic monks have other sources of W damage, from like maybe epic epic destinies and so forth that the heroic monks can't, can't access. And I think you disproportionately hurt monks and heroics, heroic monks, than you do epics. And not only that, there's a bug that Steel Star has acknowledged, where some of the core stuff that should be there is not, and some of the other half W's from other sources. So for improved fists, or what's the name of it? But from
Reinforced
other
fist?
yeah, reinforced fist, thank you, and other sources like that, you're missing half a W from each of those sources. So if your reinforced fists, only gave you a half, you lost that. If you had like improved reinforced fists, which give you one W, you're getting a half a W.
Sure.
So from any extra source, they're losing a half a W.
Which
So
is not intended. They have recognized it as a bug. But
that's right.
yes.
So they're going to fix that. But but again, as I said earlier, I think losing all that especially in the cores of Shinto, like I said, you're disproportionately harming the heroic monks, and that's what I thought was the most noticeable.
Yeah, I definitely, playing my DDOCast characters, which is my monk, I definitely noticed, like, if I was paying attention, I could tell that the numbers were down, but it didn't really feel too different. Maybe it was an extra hit or two in there, but so there's at least that. I'm sure that'll amplify more as they get up, but I felt like I was doing, and I paid a little attention before and after kind of what some of my other characters were doing, and it was interesting that my monk, both before and after, is still doing more damage on a normal hit than my rogue was doing at level 30 on a normal hit with daggers. My rogue is critting way higher than the monk is. But so that was kind of an interesting comparison for me of I think seeing a little bit more clearly for the first time. Again, I don't tend to pay too close attention to the numbers. I see big numbers, and go, ooh, big numbers, yay! But I don't tend to number crunch unless I'm like really in a mood to number crunch. But I did really notice that like the base damage that my monk was doing, even at a lower level, was definitely better than what my rogue was doing. But I don't think that necessarily translates DPS wise, because the rogue has a much better critical profile. My monk, I think, has like a 19 to 20 times 2 critical profile, and my rogue's running around with like 17 to 20 times 4 or something like that. So, that was kind of what I noticed about it.
Yeah, I tend to look at that first number, a lot, because all the extra effects is nice and everything, but that first number.
You're talking about like just a static, like a normal hit damage.
Yeah, absolutely. And I notice, and I definitely notice, that the numbers are significantly lower. Hopefully they'll be going back up with the bug fix, the extra half W's to damage, but
and
I'll feel better if they do.
For me, this is kind of an incomplete thing, right? Because they've kind of mentioned that they're probably going to increase DPS for melees across the board, right? Like they want to do some across the board changes, but they don't feel like they could do that because of how the monk stuff would amplify that. So I would say though that my DPS, my monk normal hits are probably down by 20% or so, somewhere in that range. But I didn't do the math, but that's kind of where it seemed to be, about maybe 25%, somewhere in that range. Okay, a couple quick things I wanted to hit. Did anyone find the new combat tracker, the stuff that they removed from the combat tracker, to be helpful? Or have any comments on that one? I was able to find something a lot easier after the fact, after I died, but which is kind of the point.
I haven't really noticed. I mean, I'm really hoping, they were hoping that maybe helped to remove some of the lag, but
well, it also cleans it up, right? Like after I was able to go in and look after I died and released from a dungeon, from killing time. Actually, I was able to go back and look at some damage numbers and see what was hitting me, which was nice.
It was so cluttered before, so it's definitely a good change, even if it doesn't help with lag.
I will confess, I have not resorted my character screen at all, and I probably never will.
Yeah, I won't either.
I like how it is.
It's
I
all
did.
alphabetical. That's fine.
Did
I know
you?
where everything is. Who cares?
I did last login to the top.
Nice.
Most recent login at the top. So I
Sure.
like that.
Yeah. I might, I might try that. We'll see. Actually, that would probably really help when I'm going to other servers to figure out which character, like, because I've got a couple of dummy characters or characters I've not played and I've been using as kind of throwing gems on, which came in really handy when I rolled that character to play with Leslie and Mithri. I went from 7 to 12 with just gems. It was great. I might use the last login for that kind of stuff, so maybe I shouldn't say never. But and the other one, I'm kind of curious on Voodoo's take on this. That they increased the range on the intimidation skill.
I like that they did this, but I don't really have any experience using it yet, so I can't speak to that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I wish I could, but
I kind of wonder if the range seems to be a little bit more, but I kind of wonder if they might have accidentally broke the consistency and reliability of it.
Yeah, I've been seeing some threads on the main for the DDO forums where people are complaining about, the Intim's just not working like it used to. And they're saying things like the range hasn't really increased that much, kind of
I
thing.
think it's not landing consistently. That's what I've noticed.
yeah, you know what? I think I have noticed that, and I thought it was just because I was with another tank and maybe he was just intiming off of me right away. But I was like, I should have got this for at least a few seconds, and
Yeah, I
then
think
I just backed off because I'm the kind of, I'm like, if somebody else wants to tank, I don't care, go ahead. If you die, I'll take over.
Yeah, I think the Intim might be a little broken because I definitely noticed that it seemed to be less reliable for me. That was the thing I noticed.
Yes, I have seen that.
All right, anything else you guys want to say about update 40? Are we ready to letter grade this?
Sure.
Ooh.
You gotta think about that, don't you?
Oh.
Keeping in mind that this is a fairly small scope update, but for what it is, for what's they added to it, I think I'm inclined to be kind of in the A- range. Maybe B+. There's I'd probably land more on the B+ because there's enough of those bugs that are kind of. And I'm not talking about like the graphic bugs or the T-pose or anything like that, but like Wood Elf, not Arcane Archer, not working fully on it. But we talked about a little bit with the monk nerfy stuff like that. That's a little bit annoying there. But I like the new Nightmare stuff. I really like the new raid. I think the last couple raids they've done there's a little bit of there's still a little bit of repetitiveness in killing time and Baba. But I kind of like a lot of the new mechanics and stuff that's going on there. So B+, A- kind of range for me.
I'm going to go B- on this one, mostly because I think they could have done a better job on Black Razor. Can you tell I've got a thing for that?
You
yeah,
really
they
like
could have
that
done
weapon.
a better. They could have done a better job on Black Razor, quite frankly. And the raid's okay. I would like to get into do a little harder runs. But
Sure.
there's just so many people, guilds running it that they've only got space for guildies, and that's fine. I understand that. But eventually, hopefully the spots will open up, and I'd like to run it on harder difficulties. But I would say probably, B- would be the worst. Would be the worst grade I would give it.
There's so many pieces. For me, Night Rebels, A. Cloaks, A. I mean, good job, guys. Wood Elf, I appreciate that there's variety. Variety's the spice of life, so good job there. I'm not interested, but I appreciate that it's there. The raid, C+. So, and that's, considering the actual raid itself and the loot, maybe even C if I have to factor both of those in there. So overall, B,
Sure.
B-, somewhere in there.
It'll be interesting to see how this raid kind of lasts. I think it has potential to be a long-lasting raid and a fun raid for a long while. I think what you were kind of speaking to, Arkat, about groups running it. There's a lot of more roles in this raid that you kind of need to cover than maybe your average puggable or average raid that kind of a pug is used to. So interesting to see how
Agreed. It's good.
that ages.
Yeah, it's going to be much more difficult for pugs to run this one. Sort of like with the our RO, oh God, the
RSO?
previous rate. Oh, thank you, RSO,
Yeah.
riding the storm out.
That had a
That's a
diff- that
tough one for pugs to do.
that one's tough because of the electrical mechanic. This one is tough because of
Yes.
the roll mechanics, and I think we might see more tanks in our future. We'll see. Yeah. Well, thanks guys for joining me for knocking this out. Thanks for next time we'll have a new topic. And if you want to support the show, you can visit our website, DDOCast.com, or you can support us on Patreon. You can also find show notes, past shows, and more on our website. You can also find us on social media and follow us for the latest cast updates. I am at DDOCast on Twitter. If you'd like to join the discussion, leave a comment. Email us, DDOCast@gmail.com. So until next time, may all your attack rolls be crits, all your chest level appropriate. Have fun, and don't forget to gather for buffs.